So I've hit Masters, I don't know how many times up to this point, and it includes Season 11 on Stormpoint. So let's get going with my Season 11 Diamond to Masters guide for Ranked on Stormpoint. Let's begin with something that single-handedly sometimes wins you 3v3s and games. I know this is going to be hard for some of you, but hear me out. Communication. Yes, communication. So no muting your mics or being in party chat. Please jump out, join game chat. In Diamond rank and up, not using your mic is literally like holding RP in your hands and lighting it on fire. I cannot tell you how many times the simple fact of being able to talk to my randoms has allowed me to guide them and get some type of quick synergy to at least perform better in fights and even go on to win games. Added onto this in Diamond, you need to be giving informative communication such as how much damage you are doing to someone, the legend you shot at, their shield color. Another thing that's good to communicate is, let's say you crack someone's shield, but they also crack you. Let your teammates know that you are popping a bat so that they don't just, push in without you and are at a 3v2 disadvantage. Let them go a little slower. Also, let's say you want to flank and get a better angle on them. Tell your teammates to, hold a bit so that they don't push while you're trying to get that better angle, or call out, the timing to perfectly drop on someone or a team. All these little things when communicating make such a huge difference in winning fights consistently, as well as quickly ending fights to avoid long fights, which attract third parties, and this communication can lead to wins no matter what skill level the people that you're playing with are. And if you're enjoying these tips, please remember to drop a like. It just helps this video go all the way out around YouTube, and drop a subscribe as well. Now, let's move on to the next thing, which is going to be kind of the mindset in Diamond, as well as being patient. Something that gets a lot of people killed in Diamond is that they don't know how to be patient. It can be that maybe they don't have any KP and they feel insecure, and they're like, I need to go get some KP before the end game. Or they see some huge fight really close, and they're like, I just want more KP. This is easy KP, and they just have to go and they give up a really good spot in zone. Being impatient in these lobbies is a big thing I see get a lot of teams that otherwise would maybe get top 3 or win the game die, and it feels a very dumb thing to do. This is a common thing that also happens while solo queuing as well, and all you can really do in these instances is calm your teammates down, explain to them why staying put is the best thing. Sometimes they aren't going to listen and you just kind of have to go with them anyway, but usually if you're confident and you have a plan, they will follow you along. And if they don't listen, then all you can do is really stay close and just do what you can. But again, if it's, an obvious dumb push and you have KP, it's also okay to write it out, everybody. They may not like it, but if they are going to be dumb, you shouldn't lose all your hard work because of it. And for my solo queuers, again, just remember solo queuing is very tough mentally. It's just at the end of the day a badge and a dive trail, and there are going to be a lot of frustrating games and teammates, so remember to just take breaks and take it slow. You don't want to ruin your day or mental health because of a video game, and that's my message to you guys. Now the next thing we're going to talk about is going to be team comps. The team comps I found to work on Stormpoint and Ranked were ones that centered around Mobility Legends and Bloodhound and Gibraltar. The comp that I ran a lot and found a lot of success in Diamond was Ashe, Valkyrie, Bloodhound. Ashe for the aggressive player on the team, Valkyrie for her ultimate, which is great for repositioning on this huge map, and Bloodhound to scan out teams as well as find rats, especially because this map has a lot of plants and rocks and very dark spots. Their scan is just great for that. Other legends that are viable are also Wraith, Pathfinder, Octane, Loba, Gibraltar. Going super aggro is also a very viable comp, like running Wraith, Octane, Pathfinder is fine, as well as, maybe switching it up, plugging a Gibraltar or Bloodhound every so often is really nice. What you should not do on this map is go very defensive. Holding buildings is really bad on this map because most of the buildings have a ton of windows, and it's very easy to get griefed by multiple teams and just get pinched. As well as the terrible changes, I believe, to the RP system really mean that you need KP, so holding center zone for long periods won't pay off in the end. You'll gain very little RP. And for my solo queuers out there, if you want to run, like always, Mobility Legends or Bloodhound, so Ashe, Wraith, Pathfinder, Octane, or Bloodhound, for their scans and infos for helping your randoms that, let's face it, aren't going to be that great. It at least allows them to coordinate a little bit better with all that information. But again, you should always on this map have a slightly more aggressive style because of the solo on this map. More than ever, you're allowed to carry fights since they can go on a little bit longer since thirds here are not really that common on Stormpoint, so be a little more aggressive. Try and get your KP as a solo. Try and command them, lead them. Like I said, have a plan, be confident. A lot of times your randoms will just follow and just do your best, especially if they're just, being toxic or annoying. And if you guys want to support this channel monetarily, you can click the join button on my channel page, become a member for as low as $1, and it just helps, all the profits from that go to this channel to make better videos, better content, all of it for you guys to do better in Apex, and be able to give you guys more tips and rank guides and all that stuff. And now let's move on. Continuing on, we have rotations. Rotations aren't as critical on this map as, let's say, World's Edge or King's Canyon, because usually there are a few ways to get into most of the areas of the map, even a bit later in the match. The mountains don't really choke you up as much since the exterior part of the map is pretty wide open. The only time I think you guys should be very diligent on rotations and careful is if you find yourself needing to rotate into the northeast part of the map, the part where like the huge vertical like hill that's very hard to get up and can be very easy to get held out, and it sucks to fight at. So if you see a zone, kind of pulling that way, do your best to move close so you're not running super late into zone, because it's very easy to get killed there. Another instance where you should kind of tell your teammates to get there a little earlier is if you have to cross like a large body of water, let's say if it's a fish farm zone. Those are really bad if you have to get into one of those buildings and you don't have a legend that can get you there. So, it's another scenario where you just don't want to be the dude that's running in late, running out in the open, because you're going to get focused and you're probably going to die. And if you guys want to know some of the POIs that I like to drop at, I'm going to drop a map right here so you can see. But again, kind of the cave is one of my favorite spots to land at. Mill is also okay if it's not contested. North pad is really nice as well. And there's a few others that I'm going to circle here, but mainly I land cave almost, religiously. It is a great spot. Even if you're contested, you can usually loot and even take the fight, and there's just really good loot there. So that one's my highly recommended spot if you guys want to take it. In the next section, when I talk about playstyles, I will talk about how you need to rotate, and it's going to also depend on the lobby. So let's dive into that now. Now we're at the important part, to the playstyles that are going to gain you the most RP and diamond rank. So there are really two playstyles that you guys have to follow. Mainly because there are two types of diamond lobbies that I really found myself in. Either you're going to be in a lobby where at the end of the round, you're already down to 10 teams, or you're going to be in a lobby where 16 teams are still up in round 3+. So you as a diamond player need to learn how to be flexible in your play style. And good players in diamond will be ones that can adjust to any situation with just a few seconds of thought. That goes for Masters players and Apex Predators. That's just something that you have to be just sharp, quick to react to different situations around you. So off of drop on this map, most POIs are going to be big enough to support two teams. So try and just land in a general area of a POI together and not on top of another team. And don't be afraid to take that early fight. So I honestly land caves a lot. And for the most part, even if it's contested, it's spread out enough that I can land, get loot, and still take the fight if I need to, or even rotate out. And usually you get really good loot as well. But let's say you have to land somewhere and the loot's not very good. It's okay. Back up. Don't take the fight, And make sure, though, while you are dropping, to look around. See if there are two teams contesting very nearby. So if you do land alone, you can loot up and then go third that fight very easily. And it's just going to help you out a lot. And it's very good information to know. And high-level players will be paying attention when they're dropping, because they want to know what's the easiest KP they can get, as fast as possible. So now you've dropped, and now you're looking to see, how do I play this lobby? Well, now we get into the time where you analyze the lobby. So if the lobby's dying very fast, and when round 1 is closing, you have, 10 teams left, or around there. So at this point, you should be looking to take a 3v3 no matter what, an isolated 3v3. Why do I say this? Because with so little teams left and such a huge map, it should be, relatively safe to take a fight. And on this season, where basically KP is uncapped, going into the final zone with no KP just isn't suggested. Though, like I said, don't ever, give up a winning position for 1 KP. Always focus on winning the game, and like I said, be patient. But really, if you see a isolated 3v3 that you can take, probably take it. Do not run away from it. So, you take an isolated 3v3 and you win it, and at this point, you should have good loot, and the teams, should be maybe down to 7 or 8 at this point, and even if you rotate late in these types of lobbies, there shouldn't be enough people to hold you out from getting a okay spot in zone. So even if you're late, you should be able to find a spot to hold in zone and then play edge and focus on winning the game. you're in a lobby that's going super slow, kind of like AOGS. Round 1 is closing, and you still have 15, 16 teams left at this point. So at this point, what I recommend is you hit Beacon. You use your Recon Legend, hit Beacon, and then focus on rotating to an edge spot close to the second zone of the green zone. Why do I say this? Well, hopefully, if a team contested you on a POI, maybe you got some early KP. If not, the reason on Stormpoint is not the threat of you getting thirded in a fight. The threat is taking too long in a fight that you are late into the most crucial part of the zone or place on the map. Because in lobbies of this caliber that are being played like this, having a good spot in zone means everything. Anyone late into these types of zones will probably run into another team, causing a very chaotic fight where everyone will probably die, or you just get killed by a team, holding edge, and they just kill you because you're just in zone taking so much damage. So unless it's an easy cleanup third on the way to, the edge spot like I was mentioning, your KP will come later. And this is where the patience really comes into play, because these lobbies will be slow. In these lobbies, the reason I say, you want to hold edge and close to the green zone is that you only want to focus on fighting forward. You don't want to focus on anyone wrapping behind you, backwards, because there's a lot of high skilled players in front of you, and if you're spinning around looking at people, will move up at you, and you want to make sure that you're putting as much pressure so that they stay as far away from you. You can get as much KP and you can gain as much ground in those later zones. But again, if it gets to the later rounds, just fight slow, fight forward, and pick your spots. And usually, since so many teams are up late, you will still get a lot of KP and even some easy KP as teams not well positioned start fighting. And if you're wondering, you'll be able to get an angle, pick off one or two. It just kind of happens because you have a great spot, so you probably have an angle on a lot, and you'll still rack up that easy KP. Like, it will come. You just have to be patient in these zones, and that's what really happens in these very slow lobbies. Is impatient players are really the ones that put themselves in bad spots, and the more experienced, calm players take advantage of this. And if you're kind of wondering, wow, like, this guide has been great, but I would love more analysis on Season 11, on Season 11 Ranked. Well, check out my Season 11 Ranked guide right here. Check it out. There's a lot more information, a lot more guides, tips, everything. Did I miss anything? Drop it in the comment section, and we'll go from there.